everyone, this is Dawn. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to show you how to make a couple of cards using the June stamp of the month called Garden Tags. And this is available for $5 with any $50 purchase during the month of June. So let's get started. This is the stamp set. Once again, it's called Garden Tags. And then I'm also going to use the sentiment from this other stamp set called Palm Paradise. So I have the two stamps that I'm going to be using from Garden Tags set up in my MISTI. And I'm going to stamp them down on white daisy cardstock. And I'm using black ink. And I'm using this black ink because I'm going to be coloring them in with the tri-blend markers. Okay, so I'll get the MISTI out of the way, and then I'm going to use my stamps on blocks for the rest of the stamping. So this is my sentiment, and it says thanks, and I'm spacing it out on this piece of white daisy because I'm not sure if I'm going to create tags or banners or exactly what I want to do with them. So I'm leaving myself some room to create there. So I'm stamping them in Fern and then also in Candy Apple. And then I'm stamping this tag decoration in a variety of colors, just so that I'll have them in case I want to add them to my tags. So I'm doing Candy Apple and Sapphire and Fern. I like to get all my stamping done, and then I kind of choose what I want to use as I'm creating my card. So got my stamped pieces, and I'm bringing in this thin cut. It's a new thin cut from the May-June catalog, and it's got tags and tabs in it. And then I realized that this tab here fit the thanks sentiment fit in that particular tag shape, or not tag, but tab shape. And so I'm going to use that. But now I'm going to cut the tags out, and I'm lining them up on my image. And the easiest way is to kind of line up the whole of the tag with the hole that's part of the stamped image. And then you run it through your Big Shot so that your holes line up there, if that makes sense. So I'm running everything through, and then I'm going to create my little tabs out of my thanks sentiments. So I'm going to do one in Fern and one in Candy Apple. So I'll run those through. That was a happy discovery. Okay, so we've got those images cut. And then off camera, I colored in these two images using the tri-blend markers. And now let's create cards out of them. So I'm using some of the mix-in papers, and this yellow paper is from Blue Skies. It has little sun images on it. It's so cute. So I'm going to cut a second tag so that I can layer them on my card. So I'm cutting enough paper to be able to run that through. And then I've got a piece of the Candy Apple UV coated cardstock from Blue Skies, and then I'm going to create another tag for the other card with the red. So I'm going to run these through my Big Shot. We'll get those cut out. It helps if you have purple tape or washi tape to get those placed down correctly, and they won't move when you run them through your Big Shot. Okay, so we have all our images cut, so let's make the first card. I'm going to use this sapphire paper as the background on my card front, and so I'm cutting off the zip strip, and I'm going to cut it at an A2 size, so that's 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And then I'm going to cut some of these strips. This is also from the mix-in paper pack. And I'm kind of looking at some zip strips and deciding. And this zip strip is from the Stitched Together collection. And so now I'm just going to kind of place things up around to kind of see where I want things to go on my card. Okay, so let's start putting this together. I've got my card base. And then I'm going to glue this down with bonding memories. This card I'm going to take you through all the assembly steps, and then with the next card I'll skip ahead as far as adhesive and that part, but this one I'll show everything. Okay, so this strip, the larger piece is cut at 1 1/4 inches, and then the zip strip is 1/2 inch. And so I'm going to wrap some fiber around this piece. So I'm just kind of figuring out which ones I want to use. So this is the gold embellishing thread. It's quite fussy. You must be very patient with it because it's kind of tricky to work with. But I'll show you a trick when I start getting it adhered down. I'm just kind of wrapping it now to make sure that this is what I want to do before I start putting glue and adhesive down. And then this is it's white, it's skinny ribbon that has gold along the edges. So I decided I wanted to add that to all of the fibers that are going to be wrapped around that strip. And then this is the decoration or tag extender. I don't know what this would be called, but I'm fussy cutting it. And then I'm going to glue it to the yellow tag just for a decoration. And I'm punching a hole where that hole is on the stamped image. And then I will add it to that tag. So I'm just gluing that down with bonding memories. Okay, so now I'm going to take all that thread off and assemble. So I'm going to glue the zipped strip down to the larger piece of decorative paper, and then I'm going to put a couple of rows of adhesive tape down, and then I'm taking my thread and pressing it into that adhesive as I wrap it around, and it helps to kind of keep it under control. And if you stick it down as you're wrapping it, so it keeps it in place. And then I'm adding that other piece of white skinny ribbon along with the embellishment thread. And then I'm going to add it to the front of the card. First, I'm going to figure out where that tab needs to go so it has enough room at the top before I put that other strip down. I'm going to adhere that. And I got a little bit of glue on the front of that, so it's easy to remove that with that rub and remove eraser. And I'm going to glue that strip down. And then I'm figuring out where my tags are going to go. So with these tags, sometimes it's hard to figure out, what exactly, they're so pretty, but it's hard to figure out what exactly to do with them. And I find when you have elements like this, it's good to ground them or have them attached to something that's on your card. It just kind of gives a more the design makes sense rather than having them just floating on the front of your card. So by putting that strip of paper 3/4 of the way on the card, it gives the tags something to kind of appear like they're hanging from. So I'm attaching the yellow one is attached with thin foam tape, and then I'm taking the thicker foam tape and just putting it on one side of the other so that I can layer them. So I'm attaching that down with thin foam tape, and then I've got thicker on the left side, underneath the left side of it, and then I've got some thin underneath the right side so that everything will kind of layer on the same level once it's all together. All right, and then I'll attach my bow with glue dots. You don't have to get fancy and actually have to attach it to the ribbon that's on the card. You just attach your bow with glue dots. And then I thought I was going to use some of these pearls, but then ultimately I decided to add some Nuvo drops. So there's my finished card. I love those sunflowers. Sunflowers just make me happy. So let's make the next card. Now this paper is from the Stitched Together collection. And then I'm also using some zip strips from Blue Skies and the mix-ins. But the base peach colored pattern papers from Stitched Together. I'm cutting my zip strip, and then these little hearts from the mix-ins, and then this dot paper is also from the mix-ins, but you'll see later on I wound up changing my mind and deciding not to use that, but kind of figuring out what I want to use, how I want everything. It's going to be the same design for this card, but it's all in the details. So I thought I was going to try to use this wisteria ribbon. So I'm trying it out and not crazy about it. So I'm going to use that same white and gold skinny ribbon. And that's what's going to go on the tag. And then I'm going to wrap that same gold embellishing thread. So we can start building our card here. I'll just show a little bit of it. Okay, so this is where I started out by placing the zip strip in the middle of that 1 1/4 inch piece. And then I started thinking about that heart zip strip, and I thought I could cut it in half and have a row of hearts on each strip. And so these peach colored hearts could surround that other candy apple zip strip that has hearts on it. So I got rid of the dot paper and decided to go with this design. Sometimes you have an idea in your head and then things change as you start building your card. So I needed something substantial for it to be adhered to so that I could wrap that gold thread around. So I'm cutting a piece at 1 inch by 4 1/4. It's a piece of white daisy cardstock. And then I'm going to glue these little strips to it. So we'll get all those down, and then we'll be able to wrap that gold embellishing thread around it. And I was much happier with the way this looked. Okay, so I'm doing the same thing. I'm putting some adhesive tape runner down, and then I'm going to take my embellishing thread and wrap it. And yes, it does take patience and it is very fuzzy, but it looks cool, so it's worth it. So I've got that wrapped around, and then I decided that was enough for that one. And then I'll just start layering things together. So I'm going to skip ahead after I've got everything foam taped just like the other one and adhered. And then you'll be able to see this card. I'll have some still images. So all of these supplies are available on my website, and I will make a list with links so you can make your purchase. I hope you give this a try. I love this stamp set. It's so pretty. I appreciate you spending some time and watching my video today. If you haven't hit that subscribe button yet, please hit that subscribe button. I would really appreciate it. And thanks for watching.